Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're over here on the Japanese side of the game, taking on the new Arena Mihawk that has just released on JP as of, from when I'm recording this, I don't know, 6 hours ago. Now, I do apologize, this video is a little bit delayed. I do work on Sundays and on the weekend, and with me being a global main, I'm not really rushing to get my Japan content out, but I still wanted to give you guys, or you Japan players that do watch me, the idea of how to take this Mihawk down, and for you Globarians, to give you an idea of what's coming and how good these new units are. Now, obviously, with Mihawk, he is boosted around the new batch of Whitebeard versus Shanks and their new batch, but he is a very, very interesting unit, and I gotta say, his artwork is so damn clean, man. I love his artwork so much. It looks really, really good, and he's a very, very interesting unit. So, obviously, with the release of Shanks vs Whitebeard, Whitebeard units are all boosted. Rockstar, Ben Beckman, Vista, Marco are all boosted as well as Blackbeard from the Banaro event, Banaro Island event. He's also a very, very good unit for this fight as well. But let's take a look at what this Mihawk actually does. Now, obviously with arena characters, they are very, very good, and you can actually get all the limit break crystals that you need to max this guy out. So for free-to-play players, that's actually really handy because you can hang on to your treasure map limit break materials to actually utilize on your legends and other units that you guys have in your arsenal as well. But what does this Mihawk do? His captain ability increases the attack of int characters by 3 times and HP by 1.2 times. Int characters will also treat recovery and T&D orbs as beneficial. So pretty stock standard captain. 3 times is actually pretty low for a free-to-play unit nowadays. But getting int characters having recovery and T&D orbs as beneficial is quite nice. Unfortunately though, you could easily just get that through a ship. This guy is a cerebral slasher, so you could you could easily make an int cerebral team with this guy, or an int slasher, and use the Aura Jackson or the Zunisha, and that way you can just make those orbs matching anyway. But it is a nice little touch, I guess. But you're not really using this guy as a captain, let's be real. You're mainly using him for his special. So his special states that he cuts 10% of all enemies' HP. He removes 5 turns of defense up and 5 turns of resilience. Removing resilience kind of sucks, to be honest. I just prefer to use end of turn damage, but it is what it is. He also locks the chain at 3 times, and when the total damage dealt with normal attacks in the previous turn was 5 million or more, he gives -9 cooldown to himself after his special is triggered. So basically what this means is you use his special, you can get a little bit of utility, remove the defense up, get a HP cut, which is nice. He does HP as well, because you can use Law as a support and get an orb buff to units as well, which is really, really cool. But you could use his special, get the 3 times chain lock, remove defense up if you need to, remove resilience if you need to, get a nice HP cut, use some supports to give you some more buffs, and then burst on stage 4. If you do over 5 million damage in that turn with your entire team, he's then going to give -9 cooldown to himself, moving into the next stage. Then when you move into the next stage, he obviously gets a cooldown for that turn, a cooldown for the preemptive, so it's around 11 cooldown, which is really, really nice. This character, however, has a max special at 12 turn cooldown, so you will still be left with the 1 turn, which may seem a little bit annoying, but when we have a look at his sailor abilities, you'll understand why it's not. His sailor ability will deal 1.1 times damage with normal attacks to Psi enemies, so as an unit, he's hitting even harder against Psi enemies, and his other Assail ability states that he gives -1 cooldown to himself whenever an int character other than himself triggers a special. So basically, all you have to do on stage 5 is use another int character special, then this guy has his special back. You can then utilize the defense up removal once again, or resilience removal if you need that, but most importantly, you can actually get the 3 times chain lock on stage 4 and stage 5. Now, normally that's whatever, you just bring someone like Shanks crew, right? That's why you get 3.5 over 3 turns. But there aren't that many characters in the game that give you multi-turns of chain lock, so this is actually pretty handy. His limit break ability is enrage and increased damage reduction up to 150 on himself following the turn he takes a hit, and he reduces 2 turns of increased damage debuff. He has critical hit, 70% chance of adding 7% on top of a final hit when hitting a perfect. And he has orb zero reduction of 5 turns. His support is actually pretty nice as well. Once during the adventure, when the support character triggers a special that does an attack up or an orb boost, reduces 2 turns of resilience on the enemies for Zoro and Shanks. So again, resilience removal is whatever, but for a free-to-play unit, it's actually pretty good. So overall, pretty decent arena unit, to be honest. he is pretty cool, and he is very unique in that sense that he gives himself so much cooldown. But I do have 3 teams for you guys in today's video, as mentioned. I am sorry that this video was out a little bit late. I will try to sort of make them a bit quicker depending on my work schedule. But with that said, let's dive in. So team number 1 is utilizing Double Roger, and for this particular team, we don't have any of the new batch. We aren't using the new legends. We're actually using some older legends that are all out on global, to be honest. There's only one noticeable support, and that is Onami on our Sanji and Pudding. And with that said, let's hop in. So onto stage 3 now, we actually come up against Gecko Moria. Against Gecko Moria, he is an int unit, and he actually puts up 2 turns of damage reduction and threshold. Now for this particular team, we actually don't have a way of getting around that, so we are going to switch with our Sanji Pudding as well as our Mihawk Perona. That way we can activate the negative ability and get the 25% healing moving into the next stage with the Sanji Pudding switch ability. Unfortunately, we do have to stall out the damage reduction and the threshold with this particular team, but that's okay because on the second turn, Moria just blows away or stuns our subs, as well as then on the next turn just attacking to remove that. So once the defense damage reduction and the threshold is gone, we can actually just switch with our Shanks crew. We can then switch with our Mihawk Perona to get the negative effect, and with that we're just going to hit our perfects and we're just going to take out Moria here. You can use the super typing of Roger on this stage if you really want to as well, but with the attack boost of Shanks crew, it's really not essential to be able to need that. Onto the the 4th stage now. We come against Doflamingo. Doflamingo is another int unit. This whole content is based around int. He gives us 5 turns of bind respective to your sockets, as well as 5 turns of attack down. So he also has a barrier for 2 turns where you have to hit 4 Psy Orbs, which is going to be a little bit annoying for most teams. We're going to use Chopper on this particular stage. Chopper's really, really good here because he can remove the bind and the attack down, and you actually get despaired as well, but with Roger as our captain we can remove that. We're then going to use the super typing of one of our Rogers. That way we can give ourselves a full board of orbs. We can then utilize our Roger special. That way we can get an attack boost. We can use our Shanks crew special to get a HP cut and a 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns. And then with that we're just going to break the barrier by hitting with our Psy units first, and because our Psy units are going to be doing so much damage, we can easily just take out Dofi on that particular stage. Be mindful, you do actually want to switch into Perona on this final stage against Mihawk. That way you can actually get the negative effect and the conditional boost. Against Mihawk, he is going to give us a full board of block orbs. He has 6 turns of threshold, 6 turns of damage reduction, and 10 turns of defense up. So you can see why this is built for versus Shanks and Whitebeard, as Shanks can actually get around that 10 turns of defense. But there is another unit that can actually get around that, which is Vivi Rebecca. But with this particular team, how we're actually going to get around it is we're actually going to use our Sanji and our Pudding special. Now, Sanji and Pudding are going to give us a nice heal, but they can also remove the damage reduction and the threshold. And with Onami support, we can actually set the defense to 0, which helps out a lot. That way, we don't even have to worry about the defense of it. It doesn't mean anything at this point. We can then use our Roger special to give ourselves a 3 times attack boost and the 5 times captain. We can switch with our Mihawk Perona, get the negative effect, as Mihawk isn't immune to that, ironically. And then we can actually use the Mihawk Perona special to give us our full board of orbs, as well as get the conditional buff, which is really, really nice, as we do need that extra damage, as this team doesn't use an orb booster. I'm pretty sure against Mihawk, if you use an orb boost, he actually wipes away all your positive buffs. But utilizing Roger, you can actually get around it. And you guys will see that in the next team. So that was the double Roger team. Doesn't use any of the new batch, which is great, or the newer legends. Let's move on to the next team now. So on to the next team now. We are utilizing Roger once again as our captain, and we're actually bringing a friend versus Shanks. This is what the team looks like. There are no notable supports on this particular team. If you want to, you can just run stat boosters, but I just wanted to show that this team has plenty of damage and you don't actually need support. So with that said, let's dive in. Alright, so we've made it to stage 3 against Gecko Moria now. As mentioned in the first part of the video, Gecko Moria is an int unit, and he has 2 turns of damage reduction and threshold. Very similar to that first team that you guys saw. This particular team actually has to stall out the 2 turns of damage reduction and threshold. If you guys have Colosseum Komurasaki done, she's actually a really good unit here, and you can actually use her over Robin. That way you can actually use her special here, and then have it again ready to go by the final stage, as she does have double special activation. She also gives an attack buff, and it works really, really well. But unfortunately for me, my account's still new, and I haven't really grinded up all those really good free-to-play units. I have been working on them, but I've just been doing them over time. So if you do have her, you can actually use her instead of a Robbie. Use the special there, and then have it ready to go by the final stage. On to stage well, once the damage reduction and the threshold is gone, we're actually just going to utilize the super typing of our Roger here. That way we can actually just get more damage against int units, as we will have super typing for our full Psy team. And then we can actually just hit with our normal attacks and take out Gecko Morio. Another thing that you guys can actually do is actually run the Liberal Hind. Liberal Hind will give you a lot more damage, as this team is a mono Psy team. But with the 1000 Sunny being boosted still, I just figured running that's actually a little bit quicker. But as mentioned, you definitely can utilize the Liberal Hind to get more damage. On to stage 4, we come up against Dofi once again. He gives us a full board of unfavorable slots, 5 turns of attack down, 3 turns of despair, and 5 turns of bind to our right hand side. So make sure Chopper is on the left. Chopper's really, really good for this stage, because we can just use the Chopper special, and Chopper can just remove all those nasty effects. On this particular stage against Dofi, we're actually going to use our Shanks special. Very, very important that we actually utilize the Shanks special here to give ourselves the orb boost and the base stat buff. And with the clock buff, we can actually set the defense to 0 on the next turn. We're actually going to use the versatility of Verse Shanks on this particular stage. That way we can actually get a conditional boost as well. And then we can actually just hit with our perfects, break the barrier that he puts up for Psy orbs, because we are running a mono Psy team. It's very, very easy to break that down and actually take out Dofi on this particular stage. Shanks gives a nice chunky heal, as well as Chopper giving us healing, so all the damage that Mori did to us doesn't really matter. On the final stage against Mihawk, he has 6 turns of damage reduction and threshold, 10 turns of defense up, gives us a full board of block orbs, and I think he does like a... he's immune to delay and poison. So with Shanks' carryover, we can actually set the defense to 0. We still have his versatility live, so we do have the conditional boost as well. We can actually reduce the... threshold and damage reduction by 5 turns with the Summertime Robin special. We can remove 5 more turns of it with the Rayleigh special. As mentioned, if you have Komurasaki would just do 2 turns, and with Rayleigh, you're pretty much covered there. Then we can use our Roger special. Roger is going to give us an attack boost, as well as set the 5 times captain. And then finally, we can use Wano Law. Now, Wano Law is going to give us a full board of orbs, an orb buff, and a chain lock. We actually get interrupted here, though. I'm pretty sure it is for the orb buff. Let me know in the comment section below if it is different. But because we are running Roger, we can actually just say, sorry, nah, that's not happening, not wiping away our buffs. Unfortunately, though, we do get special blinded, but lucky for us, we've actually used up all of our specials. So, joke's on you there, Mihawk. Even with me missing my first perfect, I am going to say goodbye to you. So, as you can see, almost 100 million damage. This team is not going to have any issues whatsoever. But let's move on to the final team now, and probably the most optimal team to take this fight on. So onto the final team of the video now. We're actually utilizing both Shanks and Whitebeard. Ideally, probably running 2 Shankses is probably the best way to go about this. But I thought, hey, why not include Whitebeard in here somewhere? We are running all the new batch except for Marco, but we are bringing the new Barnaro Island Blackbeard in his place. Blackbeard is really, really good because he can remove those defensive effects. There are no notable supports, so with that said, let's dive in. Alright, so we've just flown our way to stage 3 as all these units are actually boosted, so they all have their cooldowns. Something that I didn't note at the beginning is you really want to make sure Rockstar and Ben Beckman are on the left-hand side, as well as having double special on your Vista. So on stage 3 against Moria, we're actually going to utilize our first Vista special. Vista is not only going to remove the damage reduction and the threshold, but he's also going to give us a nice chunky orb boost as well. So trying to farm up some orbs on stage 2 is actually pretty handy, and getting the versatility max is actually going to help you guys out significantly. With that orb buff, the words are hard. The orb buff that Vista provides to us, we just have plenty of damage to take out Moria in 1 turn, provided you guys have some matching orbs on your side units. On to the next stage, we come up against Dofi, and against Dofi, he is going to bind our right-hand side, spare our captains, gives us a full board of unfavorable orbs and 5 turns of attack down. So this is where having Rockstar on the left is very important, as we can actually use the Rockstar special to not only remove the attack down, but he can also remove the barrier. Dofi has a 4 Psy Orb barrier for 2 turns, so Rockstar can remove that. Then we can use Ben Beckman to give ourselves a chain lock, and ideally you want to use Ben Beckman after Rockstar, otherwise Rockstar will remove the chain lock that Ben Beckman can provide. With that, we're pretty much hunky-dory, but because we're going to get normal attacks only on the next stage, we're actually just going to use the versatility of our Whitebeard. That way we can just get a nice chunky HP cut. We have a chain lock with our Ben Beckman, and then we can actually just take out Dofi with just some normal attacks and a bit of brute force. Get out of here, Dofi. Onto the final stage, we come up against Mihawk, who is an int unit. Yay for Shanks. He's going to put up 6 turns of damage reduction and threshold. He's immune to poison and delay, as well as giving us normal attacks only. And he also has 10 turns of defense up. So that's where Shanks sort of comes in clutch here. So what we want to do here is we are going to utilize our Blackbeard special first. Blackbeard can remove 4 turns of all of the defensive effects, which is really, really nice. Then we can use the Whitebeard special. Whitebeard's actually going to give us an attack boost. Then we can use the Shanks Verse ability. That way we can set the defense to 0. We can get a conditional boost against enemies that have defense down. But the big reason we want to use Shanks is just setting defense to 0 basically just nullifies all of Mihawk's defense up. It's another cheeky way of getting around it, but it depends on how much you can burst, and with Shanks being able to reduce it by 3 turns, it just gives you that really good security net, which is really, really nice to have. We can then use our Shanks special. That is going to give us a full border orbs and an orb buff. Now, hopefully this doesn't trigger the interrupt. I think it's either an orb buff that triggers the interrupt, or it might be a chain lock. Because it triggered when I used the lore special, that's sort of when I was sort of thinking that it might be orbs. But now that I'm thinking about it, it could actually just be a chain lock. Let's find out. Beautiful. So it's actually the chain lock that triggers that. Finally, we can finish it off with Vista. Make sure that you use Shanks before Vista. Otherwise, you'll get Vista's orb boost and not Shanks's. With that, we've removed the damage reduction. We've removed the defensive effects. We have a nice chunky attack boost. We have a nice chunky orb boost. We have a base stat boost as well. And with that, like, honestly, I do not see Mihawk standing a chance here. Beautiful. So there you go. That was the new batch team taking on Arena Mihawk. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to my channel and you're enjoying the JP content, make sure to smash that subscribe button too. But guys, most importantly, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later!